I was just reading up. We're going to start an awesome cooking session, but because I'm not a great cook, I am going to bring on a couple of our friends, Ashley and Yasmin, for an awesome Mother's Day morning cooking session. And so thank you again, girls, for being with us on Mother's Day. Can't wait.
Hi everyone, I'm Molly. I wanted to let you know that we have two amazing videos from sisters Ashley and Yasmin. Yasmin is the author of the cookbook Keeping It Simple, and Ashley is the owner of a great catering business called Cook Drop Kitchen. So let's dig in, and later on you're going to get to see them both live.
Hi, I'm Ashley Fahr. I'm a chef and caterer in Los Angeles, and today I'm very excited to show you how to make Kale Agrodolce. It's tasty, it's quick to make, and best of all, it only has 4 ingredients: kale, onion, garlic, and vinegar. Without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I want to do is get my onion and garlic prepared first, because those are the first things going in the pan. To do that, I'm going to slice the onion. So I'm going to cut off each end of the onion, the root end and the stem end, and then I'm going to cut in half one more time through the root and the stem. At this point, I find it's easiest to peel it. So I'm just going to peel off one half of the onion, and I'm only going to use one half for this dish. You can save the other half for something else. Once that's peeled, I'm going to slice it along the grain. So what does that mean? Well, if you look at an onion, you can see that it has these lines on it. And those are trace lines that indicate to us how we should cut it. So I'm just gonna follow those lines on the onion. I'm gonna start on one end and just slice right along it. Once that's done, I'm just gonna throw that right into the pan. Perfect. So that just goes right into my pan. And next, I'm going to work on the garlic. So for a dish like this, where I'm not really particular about having perfectly chopped garlic, I like to smash it. I think it's the easiest way to get the skin off the garlic. So I'm going to use my 2 cloves. Sometimes it's hard to get them out initially, so you can just push down on the bulb. So I have 2 cloves here. All right. And if I want to smash them, I will take this flat side of my knife, I'll press it down on the garlic, and I will smash it just like that. Pretty easy. And from here, you should have a much easier time of getting that skin off. So we're just gonna pop that skin right off, and we're gonna do the same thing with the second garlic clove. Just smash it, get some frustration out. Okay, now, I have the garlic a little flattened, but I do want to chop it a little bit more. So I'm going to run my knife through it just 1 or 2 more times. And again, I'm not trying to be particular. I don't want this to be perfectly chopped. I'm just trying to get some slightly smaller chopped onion or garlic. Once I pop that into the pan, I'm ready to start cooking. So I'm going to add just about a tablespoon of olive oil right to the onions and garlic. I'm going to cook it over medium-high heat until the onions are softened and a little translucent. That might be about 1 or 2 minutes, maybe a little bit more, depending on how strong your burner is. While that is cooking, we're going to take care of our kale, which is the third of our 4 ingredients. In this dish, I'm using a lacinato kale. What does that mean? It's flat and dark green. You can also find a curly kale, which is also delicious in this recipe. We're just using this today. Now, either way, whether you're using curly kale or lacinato kale, we're going to clean it the same way. And what that means is we're going to get rid of this rib in the center. This rib is really fibrous and chewy, and we can't eat it. So there's a really easy trick to getting it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the rib with one hand. I'm going to pinch around it with the other hand and just pull down. And then we have kale that's ready to use, provided that it's already washed. So I'm just going to do that with the rest of the kale here. And you can chop it at this point. I'm just going to rip it because it's easier, but either one is fine. And again, for this dish, we're just looking for easy and fast and also tasty. All right, now I'm just gonna do a quick check on my onions and garlic. I might add a pinch of salt and pepper each. And then once that's ready, I can go ahead and throw the kale in, and we're already more than halfway done. All right. Looking good. All right, so right now, as I said, we're making an agrodolce. What does that mean? Well, in Italian, that means bitter or sweet. The bitter comes from this green. In this case, we're using kale, but you can use any bitter green in this dish. Collard greens, Swiss chard, those would work fine. And the dolce actually comes from the vinegar. Of course, vinegar is very tart and sour initially, but in this dish, we're going to cook it. And as the vinegar reduces, it gets kind of jammy and sweet. Therefore, we have the dolce. And this dish is obviously really easy to make, and it's a good starter, meaning that you can add it to many different dishes. You can put it on top of rice, you can put it on a grain, you can put it on top of a fish. That would be delicious. It's really versatile. It's just a great base recipe to have in your repertoire. So I think we're ready to throw in the kale. And so I'm gonna throw that into the pan along with another pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper. And we're just gonna saute that for about 1 minute more. Got my salt. And my pepper. And we'll just give that one more flip. Perfect. So in just a couple minutes, not even 1 minute, that will be ready. And then I'm going to do the last step, which is I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And if the pan is hot enough, which it should be, that vinegar should sizzle a little bit, and we should start to see it reduce almost right away, and we'll get that jammy, sweet taste all over the kale and the onion. All right, so here we go. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. So we're just gonna let that reduce for a couple, maybe 30 seconds, and then we're ready to go. I'm just gonna put it right back on this board so you can see it. Normally I'd obviously put it into a plate. Ta-da! So I hope you like this dish. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best Mother's Day, hopefully filled with a lot of love and a lot of laughter. Thank you.
So, that video was amazing, Ashley. Thank you so much for that and for sharing this simple and delicious recipe. I've got my lobster claws. I am ready to go and to be cooking today, so super excited about that. So, we also want to hear from all of you that are here right now, and so we want to know what your favorite dish is. So in the Q&A, feel free to type in your favorite dish. It could be something that you make. It can just be something that you eat. You don't have to be a cook to have a favorite dish. So feel free to add that in, and we will randomly select one of you to win Yasmin's cookbook. And Yasmin, we will hear from next. So let's see what she has in store for us.
Hi, my name is Yasmin. I'm the author of Keeping It Simple, a book full of easy weeknight one-pot recipes. So today we're actually making a recipe from my book for cooking mushrooms that's super simple, very easy, and only takes about 5 minutes. Ready? So I have the mushrooms here, and I have a very hot pan. I don't know if you can see that it's lightly smoking. So what I'm going to do is add the mushrooms and then just kind of spread them out in one layer. And you'll notice that I'm not using any seasonings. There's no oil, there's no salt, and that's because I want the mushrooms to release their liquid and water inside of them. So mushrooms are basically like sponges. They'll kind of soak up whatever they have in water, so we want them to release the natural water that they have, and then we're going to add an oil or a fat and then have them soak that all in. So that's one reason why you don't want to wash mushrooms ever. They'll soak up more water and it'll be harder for you to cook and get that beautiful golden brown color. So what I always recommend is taking a damp paper towel and then lightly rubbing it on the outside. So I also haven't touched the mushrooms for another reason, because the only thing you need to know about this recipe is that you don't want to do a lot. Basically, you just want to stir every minute or so, and that way that gives the mushrooms time to get contact with the pan and release their waters. So I'm going to do it. Usually I set a timer because I'm one of those cooks who loves to kind of stir and mess around and get my hands in there. And so patience, both in the kitchen and out, I think is one of my life lessons. So I usually set a timer. I have a hula hoop, so I'll do that, or I'll play on my phone or just do something so that I am not constantly stirring and going. So you can see like it's getting hot and releasing and sort of sizzling, which is great. So for this, you can use any kind of mushroom. I'm using cremini, but you could use shiitake or oyster mushrooms. You just want to trim off their woody stems and then kind of cut them into similar sized pieces. All right, I feel like it's been a minute, like maybe it's been a little less, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And then you can use these on, we'll see how it's golden brown. Can you see that? It smells really good too. You can use these on anything really. Like in the book, they're used on a ricotta toast and in a mushroom pasta, but you can put them on a salad, on top of a soup to finish, or even serve it as a side dish, which I think is really great. And then you'll see at the end, like once these are cooked, I'm using oil, but you could add ghee, butter, whatever seasonings you want. Sometimes adding baby spinach at the end, so it's more of a substantial dish, could be a nice move too. So that's pretty much it for the mushroom piece. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So my career in food actually started in kind of a roundabout way. So when I was at college, I went to Cornell and I was pre-med. So after college, I went to LA, worked at Cedars-Sinai in a hospital. And it was one of those things where I kind of knew I didn't want to do it, but when you have a plan and then the idea of coming up with a new plan or leaving the plan when you don't have another plan can be sort of scary. So I stuck with it, but quickly realized that this is not what I wanted to do. So I moved to New York. I started working at a small publishing house, and I found this wonderful program at NYU called Food Studies, where you learn all about food in different disciplines like culture, history, food policy, and through them, can you see this color? Okay, sorry. So through them, I got an internship at Food and Wine magazine, and that's kind of where my career took off because they brought me back to work on a cocktail book, and I freelanced for them, and then an editor helped me find my next job, which was running the cooking section at a food and travel startup, which was wonderful. But after that, my career took a little bit of a turn, and I ended up being a restaurant, hotel, and spa inspector for Forbes Travel Guide. So I basically traveled around the world for 4 years, living in London and LA while doing so, and reviewed these luxury properties and restaurants and spas. So it was kind of an amazing job. But at the same time, I was doing a column for Series Eats called One Pot Wonders, and then that led to my cookbook today. So it is kind of funny how those all come full circle, and it was great because I've always wanted to do a cookbook. You'll hear from my sister Ashley Fahr, who also works in food, and growing up, food was a huge part of our childhood, and I think for me it's always a way to express love and kind of take care of the people that I care about. So creating this book of recipes was my way of trying to help other people who may not know how to cook or maybe never learned or want some fresh ideas. And I also think it's like a form of self-care, which may not be the conventional sense of like what we hear, but I think feeding myself something that's good for me and makes me feel good, is an act of love. So that's something that, I'm really happy to be doing. And obviously food is just great and delicious, especially when it's really easy. So I don't know if you want to buy the book, obviously no pressure, but if you don't and want to test out some recipes, there are a bunch of ones that have been published on my website, so you can just give it a go, or if you want some fresh ideas for new meals. All right, back to the mushrooms. I will stop talking. Can you see how they're like golden brown color? And they've really shrunken down in size, which is something to always know because you may think, oh my God, this is way too many, but it's really not going to be. Okay, so I think this looks about good. I'm definitely not listening to my 1 minute rule, so at home, don't do this. Let it sit for a minute. So right now I'm going to add just some olive oil and then a little bit of salt. And then I'm also just going to stir in some parsley because I like to add green to everything that I do. But again, baby spinach, chives, basil, even cilantro, any other herbs. And I'm going to add some chili flakes just for good measure as well. And then that's it. You finish it with a little bit of lemon juice, maybe some Parmesan, and you have a really simple 5-minute mushroom side dish, chopper, really anything you want it to be on your hands. Thank you so much again.
After seeing all those great videos, I got a little snacky. I wanted Yasmin and Ashley, Thank you for showing us how to do affordable and easy cooking. They both look amazing. Our mutual friend Sarah has raved about you guys and how great your food is, and how cooking is important and experimenting with cooking is important, which is one of my favorite things to do.
So Yasmin and Ashley are actually here with us, and we're so excited. I mean, really, thank you both so much. It's so evident that you're so passionate about cooking, and we appreciate you taking your time to share that with us and to share your talent. And we actually have your dear friend Sarah here, who was so excited to say hello to you. So if you girls don't mind, I would love to ask you a couple of questions, but Sarah is dying to say hello to you, so I have to let her do that first.
Thank you. I just had to say hi. Wait, I don't see Ashley's face, and she's muted, I think. But I see Yaz. Hi, Yaz.
Hi. Oh, thank you guys for having us. This is so wonderful. There we go.
Can you see me, Sarah?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay, hi.
So it's almost Ashley's birthday.
Thank you, thank you. This was so sweet. Thank you for having us be a part of this. It was just it's such an inspiring weekend and day for us.
And Ashley was in Los Angeles for our Southern California launch, so she's been kind of riding this wave with us. So I just wanted to thank you, and I miss you. I miss your face. She's one of my closest friends from Los Angeles. So just wanted to give you a big kiss and thank you. And back to you, Jade. Mwah.
Awesome. So, ladies, before I start questioning you, I actually had opened up the Q&A for some of the girls here to share their favorite dishes. So I just want to announce the winner, Yasmin, of your cookbook is Lauren K., who her favorite dish is a cheeseburger pie. Cheeseburger pie sounds delicious. I'm getting super, super hungry. So I thought, Ashley, if you don't mind, if you could just, we start with you, and you could answer, how was your love for cooking born? How did you really start get into cooking?
Yeah. Can you hear and see me? Okay, great. I think my sister said that a little bit in her video. We grew up around, the most important time for us was around the dinner table. That was always a really important memory for our family. However busy we were, whatever we were doing, no matter what, we always made time to sit around the dinner table. And so I think my sister can speak for herself, but that was really important to me, and it helped me see how much food can bring people together. It's a profession where I feel like I can pour a lot of love into the things I make and the memories that I help create for other people. And then I really got into it in college. I just started to kind of play around with food, and then the love affair basically never ended.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really think that's such an important thing to say. It's how you can create memories, and not the memories that we might not all have, but some of us with our mothers, important things were cooking together, or maybe having that special dish. Like I read in the chat, some of the girls' favorite dishes were the ones that their mother made. So thank you so much for pointing that out. It's really important, and I think special for the girls to hear. So Yasmin, I was thinking for you, I think it would be really helpful for you to talk more about that self-love that you had mentioned in your video. And do you find that cooking can help you during stressful and difficult times?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like I was saying, I think cooking for myself, something that is really good and makes me feel good is important, because I think self-love, can mean so many different things, but ultimately it's about, you feeling good and taking care of yourself. And so feeding myself something that, is really good for me is that sort of act of self-love. And I think that also extends to cooking for other people that you care about. It's making them feel good. And it does bring people together, like Ashley was saying, like you're saying, it creates these memories. So I think whenever I am, anxious or stressed out, I can kind of put on some good music, use my hula hoop, make some good food, and then something beautiful and delicious to show for it. And I don't know, I think it's and you can make mistakes in the kitchen, which is what I think is so nice about it. It's you can always make another dish. So even if you mess up, you'll do it again, and it's not going to be that terrible. And if it is, well, you'll make it better next time. So I just want the stress to be out of it, make it fun and just enjoyable. Because, food is wonderful, whatever you like, you like it, you just do that. So, yeah, so it does help me a lot.
Yeah, that's so great. And like you said, it's, and Molly had mentioned this too, it's really about experimenting. And so, it doesn't have to be perfect. And, it could be just really fun and you just go with it and maybe not even have a recipe. And then the last thing.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, like it can be super simple. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be like anything you like as long as you're doing it. It's like the act of doing it, I think, is the most important,
Yeah, definitely. And I also thought, maybe coming from both of you who are professionals in the kitchen, do you have any suggestions for the girls who are scared to try new foods? Like I know when I was younger, someone would say, do you want this broccoli? Or, it could be a new chip. And I'd say, ew, that's disgusting, yuck, even though I'd never put it in my mouth before. I just assumed I didn't like it because it sounded funky.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was just talking to a friend about it because, like, like mushrooms also are a weird thing for some people because, like, the texture can freak them out, which I totally get because they can be, like, squishy or, like, oysters. And I definitely was, like, a picky eater as a kid. Like, I hated green beans. I, like, make my mom and dad, like, pick them out of, like, rice dishes, which is so annoying. But it's, like, you do those things, but then you kind of get over them. I don't know. I think trying to go into an open mind and just be like, well, I'll have a bite. If it sucks, I'll spit it out, and I never have to do it again. But, like, not go in with that, like, idea of, like, I'm going to hate it, because then you'll probably hate it, I guess. I don't know if it's very scientific advice, but.
No, that's great, because I know there's definitely probably girls in here and women, too, that are just scared to try those things. The texture thing, I totally know what you're talking about. Thank you both so much for joining us and for, sharing your talent and answering these questions with us and joining us here today on this, really special weekend. So we appreciate it. And for all of the rest of the girls, I just want, for all of you who are so brave, there were some of you who had mentioned your mother's name in the chat, and we just want to make sure that, we do honor your mother's names. I know that some of the names came in a little bit later, so thank you for being so brave and so strong. So Tanya, we want to honor your mother, Anne Marie. Shannon, we want to honor your mother, Debbie. Mandera, we want to honor your mother, Sika. Lauren, we want to honor your mother, Nicole. And Kaylee and Kelsey, we want to honor your mother, Gina. So again, thank you all so much. We have one final special session that Kara's going to tell you about. We have a song that will be sung to you from Bonnie McKee. So we'll be doing that next. So Kara, feel free to take it away. But again, thank you everybody so much for an amazing, amazing weekend.
I'm back. Am I on? All right, so we're going to bring Anne Marie back on. Anne Marie and I are going to close everything out for the weekend. So I need a little bit of help from you, Anne Marie, and before we introduce Bonnie McKee. So, hi, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Hi, Kara. I can't believe that after all of these amazing and inspiring sessions that we are finally coming to our closeout, our last session at the end of this entire amazing retreat. Our facilitators and our instructors, there aren't words that we can put into that we are so grateful for your time and for sharing your talents with us and for all of the amazing and brave and beautiful attendees that we have on right now. We are here with you, and I loved sharing some of these intimate moments with you. And as a part of our final session, I would like to share something a little bit more personal that I hope that you find inspiring. And again, knowing that you aren't alone, even though we are all physically separated. So I did tell you a little bit more about me yesterday, and hopefully you were on and hearing that. But if you weren't, my name is Anne Marie, and I'm 28 years old, and I lost my mom when I was 10 to a brain tumor. And so obviously that was very, very difficult at that time. And there was no empowerHER then. This was in 2003. But one thing that I did do that I think helped me a lot was I had a journal, and I had this beautiful journal that a teacher of mine gave me, a fourth grade teacher. And I will never, ever forget that teacher and for her words of encouragement for me to really write my feelings in this journal. It was a really helpful tool for me at that time. And when I was home over the holidays with my family, I went and I found my journal, and I brought it back here with me in Los Angeles. And I took a moment to really reflect and acknowledge the feelings that my little 10-year-old self was going through when I was writing this. And it is really emotional, but it's empowering to be an adult now and be able to look back and tell my younger self that my feelings were validated. And even though I might not have been really sharing them with anybody, I'm so glad that I can share this with you all now. 17 years later, it's special. I used to talk to my journal. I used to say, you know what, journal, I feel this, this, and this. But now I don't just have to have my journal. I can also have you all to share this with and really have a shoulder. My 10-year-old self has a shoulder to lean on, and that's amazing. So I wanted to share an excerpt with you that I did write in here, and this was on Mother's Day, 17 years ago today. And it's at the very end of my journal. And I said, wow, I can't believe it's Mother's Day and my mom isn't here. I've been feeling crappy all day long. It's so hard to believe that exactly a year ago she was going through such sickness. It's wild. I miss her so, so much. She was always there for me. I cried today because I missed her so much. But you know what, journal? I know that she's smiling down and that she's always with me. One thing that helps me cope is that when I hear songs, it makes me think of her. Certain songs always make me think of her, especially when I'm feeling even more sad. So that to me is, you all shared your feelings earlier, and that to me is me sharing my feelings with you as a 10-year-old, but here as a 28-year-old, 17 years later. So thank you so much for letting me share that with you. And the last line that I said was that there's songs that make me think of her. And we have Bonnie McKee, who is a singer-songwriter for Katy Perry, who lives here in LA. And she wrote the song Roar by Katy Perry, and that's what she's going to sing for you today. And now whenever I hear this song Roar, I'm going to think of you all. So I think that songs and music, and we've seen so many artistic ways over the past couple of days to be able to express your feelings and share special, intimate moments with one another. So I'm so excited to continue doing that. And Kara, why don't you talk a little bit more about Bonnie and what Bonnie has done for us, just because Bonnie talks about all of you so much. She sent me so many nice messages for you, and you'll get to hear from her in a minute. But Kara's just going to talk a little bit more about Bonnie and our relationship with her.
Well, I mean, she's just such an amazing woman and just such an inspiring role model and just a total rock star. So Anne Marie and I really got to know Bonnie better. We have a really close friend, Alex, who's there in Los Angeles. Alex is in her 30s, and she lost her mom when she was a teenager, and she found out about empowerHER, and you know, we got connected, and that's really just how this has grown over the years. It's just, you know, we do this storytelling. We bravely tell our stories in hopes that it can connect people in really beautiful ways. So when Alex got connected, you know, we started, you know, talking more about, you know, in this case, just how we could open a chapter in Southern California. And Alex, like so many awesome ambassadors around the country, said, you know, I'll do whatever you need. You know, what do we need to do to make this happen? And so, you know, naturally, Anne Marie and I were working together really closely to do some fundraising. Well, Alex's friend, Bonnie McKee, who lives in Hollywood Hills, she offered to host a party at her house, a party that would allow us to raise a little bit more money. And in fact, the night that we were all hanging out at Bonnie's house, that was back in January, and we raised enough money that night to actually open the chapter in Southern California. And so, you know, we were there that night, and we had such a great night. It was just like such great energy in the room, and Bonnie was incredible. And, you know, Alex was really brave. She spoke about her mom, Penny, so we called it the Penny Party. And she spoke about her mom, Penny, and we honored her. And so Bonnie really got to know empowerHER. And, you know, Bonnie will share a little bit more, but Bonnie didn't lose her mom in childhood. And that didn't necessarily matter for our ambassadors. You know, they just feel passion for our mission and were willing to help. So that night was really just extraordinary. We raised enough money to open this chapter. And in Alex's speech, you know, she asked Anne Marie and I to stand up with her, and as she just bravely spoke in front of all of her family and friends, which is just a really difficult thing to do, especially when you lose your mom when you're a teenager, and then, you know, you spend years maybe avoiding the topic or shying away from the topic. So she talked about her mom, and we talked about EmpowerHER. And as she described us to her friends, she said, I want you to meet Anne-Marie and Kara. They're aliens from my planet. And Anne-Marie, you and I just looked at each other and we were like, that's it. That's it. But I couldn't have said it better. I lived on Mars for 10 years while you were writing in that journal. I think maybe you felt like you were living on another planet. And you and I just didn't want that to happen for girls anymore. And that's why we do what we do at EmpowerHER and why we did this weekend retreat online. So we love you, Bonnie. We're so excited to share this song. So let's go. Let's hear Bonnie sing.
Hey guys, it's Bonnie McKee. I'm really excited to be able to contribute to this very special Mother's Day celebration. I am fortunate enough to still have my own mother here with me. But just last week, I lost my aunt, my mother's sister, my beloved Aunt Barbara, and she helped raise me, and she was like a second mother to me. So I just wanted to take a minute and celebrate her and celebrate my own mother. And just to remind everyone that because we've lost these mother figures in our lives doesn't mean that Mother's Day has to be a sad day. It's a celebration of the women who raised us, who loved us, and who passed on their wisdom to us. So this is a song that I wrote, inspired by the things that my mother and my aunt told me my whole life, which is to stand up for myself and to let my voice be heard. So without further ado, this is a little song that I wrote with my good friend Katy Perry, and it's called Roar. I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess, so I sat quietly, agreed politely. That I forgot I had a choice. I let you push me past the breaking point. I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up. Hey, already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Hey, get ready, 'cause I've had enough. See it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, a fighter, dancing through the fire, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar, roar, you're gonna hear me roar. Now I'm floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, I earned my stripes. I've turned from zero to my own hero. You held me down, but I got up. Hey, already brushing off the dust. You hear that voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Hey, get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I've seen it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, a fighter, dancing through the fire, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar, 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 you're gonna
amazing. Oh my God.
I got the chills, you guys.
That was, she's insane. That's so unbelievable. I think that has to be our retreat, like, theme song this weekend. It's amazing. And Bonnie, you know, that's Bonnie showing you how much she loves and cares for you girls out there, and how she's thinking about you. And I just think it's the best way to sort of wrap this whole weekend up. And so I want to bring everybody back on. I want to, again, say thank you to you women who planned this retreat in no time, who volunteered all of your time. Everything that just happened over this weekend was a volunteer effort, which is truly amazing. Amazing is an understatement, because basically, as the founder of empowerHER, I was asking you to pull a rabbit out of your hat. I was saying, we need to be there for the girls. We need to show the girls that we care about them. And we don't just put our feet up because there's a global pandemic. We are always going to be here and show up for the girls. You guys have showed up for me year after year. You have done everything I've ever asked you to do, and you have done it without wanting to be thanked for it. So I'm thanking you for bravely sharing your stories and for creating community for girls. This was supposed to be an outro. I had no idea what an outro even was a week ago. And so because of all of your love, and just because of, you know, what we've learned from Catherine, and you've given so much love, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Mother's Day. I think of your moms every day. Every girl that has been a part of empowerHER, while I didn't know one of their mothers, I continue to think of their mothers every day. And so this is my send-off to anyone watching today and always, that we hear you, we see you, and we got your back. And sending my love. Mwah.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day, guys.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank
Happy
you
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.